In the heart of Persia, near the city of Bukhara, a child was born around the year 980 who was destined to change the course of medicine forever. His name was Abu Wali al-Husayn ibn Tabd al-Ibn Sen, known to the Western world as Avicenna. From his earliest days, the young Avicenna displayed a truly astonishing intellect and an insatiable thirst for knowledge. By the age of 10, he had already memorized the entire Quran, a feat that hinted at his prodigious memory. His father, a respected scholar, ensured his son received the best possible education, inviting tutors to their home. Avicenna quickly absorbed the teachings of logic, metaphysics, and natural philosophy from the most learned men of his time. He studied the works of the ancient Greek philosophers, poring over Aristotle's texts with a deep and abiding fascination. However, it was the field of medicine that truly captured his young imagination. He saw medicine not just as a science, but as a sacred art, a way to alleviate human suffering. At the tender age of 16, he had already mastered the medical knowledge of his era. He began treating patients, his reputation as a gifted healer spreading rapidly through the region. His methods were based on careful observation and a holistic understanding of the human body. One of his first major challenges came when the Samanid emir, Nu'aib Mansur, fell gravely ill. The court physicians had given up hope, unable to diagnose or treat the ruler's mysterious ailment. The young Avicenna was summoned to the palace as a last resort. With remarkable insight, he correctly diagnosed the emir's condition and prescribed a successful course of treatment. The grateful emir granted Avicenna access to the magnificent royal library of the Samanids. This was a treasure trove of knowledge, containing countless manuscripts on every conceivable subject. For Avicenna, this was a paradise of learning, and he spent countless hours devouring the ancient texts. Delved into subjects ranging from astronomy and alchemy to psychology and geology. This period of intense study laid the foundation for his later encyclopedic works. However, the political stability of the region was fragile. The Samanid dynasty eventually fell, forcing Avicenna to leave his home and begin a life of wandering. He traveled from city to city, offering his services as physician and scholar to various patrons. His journey took him to Jordan, by the Caspian Sea, where he began his most monumental work. It was here, around the year 1012, that he started writing Al-Qanun fil Tib, or the Canon of Medicine. This was to be no ordinary medical textbook. Avicenna envisioned a comprehensive encyclopedia that would systematize all existing medical knowledge. He sought to combine the wisdom of the Greek physicians, like Hippocrates and Galen, with the insights of Persian and Indian medical traditions. He also incorporated his own extensive clinical observations and experiences. The canon was a colossal undertaking, testament to his genius and tireless dedication. The work was meticulously organized into 5 books, each covering a different aspect of medicine. Book 1 laid out the general principles of medicine, anatomy, and physiology. It described the elements, temperaments, humors, and faculties of the human body. Avicenna's detailed anatomical descriptions were based on dissections of animals, as human dissection was forbidden. Book 2 was a comprehensive guide to materia medica, listing hundreds of medicinal substances. It detailed the properties and therapeutic uses of plants, minerals, and animal products. Each entry was a model of clarity and precision. Book 3 dealt with the diagnosis and treatment of diseases specific to particular parts of the body, from head to toe. It was a systematic pathology, covering a vast range of ailments. Book 4 addressed diseases that affect the body as a whole, such as fevers and poisons. It also included a section on surgery, describing procedures like the excision of tumors. Avicenna emphasized the importance of cleanliness and anesthesia during surgical operations. He recommended the use of wine as an antiseptic and soporific sponges to dull the pain. Book 5, the final volume, was a formulary containing recipes for complex compound remedies. It provided detailed instructions for preparing and administering these powerful medicines. While writing the Canon, Avicenna's life was far from peaceful. He moved to Ray and then to Hamadan, where he served as court physician to the Bayid Emir, Shams al-Dawla Dr. His political acumen was as sharp as his medical skill, and he was soon appointed as the vizier. This position brought him great power, but also placed him in immense danger. Faced court intrigues, military mutinies, and the constant threat of assassination. At one point, his political enemies succeeded in having him imprisoned in a fortress. Yet, even in the darkness of his cell, Avicenna's mind remained luminous. He continued to write, composing treatises on philosophy and medicine by candlelight. It was during this tumultuous period that he completed the Canon of Medicine, around the year 1025. After his release, he traveled to Isfahan, where he found a more stable and appreciative patron. He spent the last years of his life in Isfahan, teaching, writing, and practicing medicine. He also completed his other great encyclopedia, Kitab al-Shifa, or the Book of Healing, which dealt with logic, natural sciences, and metaphysics. Avicenna's health began to fail, worn down by years of relentless work and political turmoil. He died in the year 1037, leaving behind a legacy of unparalleled intellectual achievement. The impact of the Canon of Medicine was immediate and profound. It quickly became the most authoritative medical text in the Islamic world. Copies were painstakingly transcribed and circulated throughout the vast expanse of the Muslim empires. It was studied by generations of physicians in the great learning centers of Baghdad, Cairo, and Cordoba. The Canon's influence soon spread beyond the Islamic world. In the 12th century, it was translated into Latin by Gerard of Cremona in Toledo, Spain. This translation opened a new chapter in the history of European medicine. At the time, Europe was just emerging from the Dark Ages, and its medical knowledge was rudimentary. The Canon arrived as a revelation, a complete and systematic guide to the art of healing. It became the standard medical textbook in European universities for over 600 years. From Salerno to Montpellier, from Bologna to Paris, students of medicine memorized its passages. It was one of the first books to be printed using the new technology of the printing press in the 15th century. The Canon's enduring appeal lay in its logical structure, its comprehensive scope, and its practical utility. Avicenna's work was a bridge between the ancient world and the Renaissance. He preserved the knowledge of the Greeks and enriched it with his own brilliant insights. He championed a rational and evidence-based approach to medicine. He stressed the importance of diet, hygiene, and quarantine in preventing the spread of disease. He was the first to describe meningitis and to differentiate it from other types of fevers. He provided classic descriptions of anthrax, pleurisy, and tuberculosis. He understood the contagious nature of some diseases and the role of water and soil in transmitting them. His work on pharmacology was groundbreaking, introducing many new drugs and remedies. He experimented with distillation to extract essential oils from plants for medicinal use. The Canon also contained important insights into psychology and the mind-body connection. Avicenna recognized that emotional states could have a profound impact on physical health. He described conditions that we would now classify as psychosomatic illnesses. He used a form of talk therapy to treat patients suffering from emotional distress. His holistic approach viewed the patient as a whole person, not just a collection of symptoms. The Canon was more than just a medical text. It was a philosophical masterpiece. It reflected Avicenna's belief in a rational and ordered universe created by a benevolent God. For him, the study of medicine was a way to understand the divine order of creation. The physician's role was to help restore the natural balance and harmony of the body. This philosophical underpinning gave the Canon a depth and coherence that other texts lacked. Even as new discoveries were made, the Canon remained a foundational text for centuries. Its influence can be seen in the works of later medical pioneers. It laid the groundwork for the scientific revolution in medicine that would follow. Today, Avicenna is revered as one of the greatest physicians in history. His portrait hangs in the halls of medical schools around the world. The Canon of Medicine stands as a timeless monument to his genius. It is a testament to the power of human intellect to overcome ignorance and suffering. The story of Avicenna is a story of unwavering dedication to knowledge and healing. His life was a journey through a world of both intellectual splendor and political chaos. Navigated the treacherous currents of court politics with skill and courage. He served kings and emirs, but his true master was the pursuit of truth. His tireless efforts created a medical system that would heal millions. The Canon's systematic approach brought order to the often chaotic world of medieval medicine. It provided a common language and framework for physicians across different cultures. Avicenna's description of the pulse was particularly detailed and nuanced. He identified many different types of pulse and linked them to specific medical conditions. His clinical trials for new medicines were a precursor to modern pharmacology. He advocated for testing new drugs on animals and then humans to determine their efficacy and dosage. This methodical approach was revolutionary for its time. He also made significant contributions to the field of ophthalmology. The Canon contains detailed descriptions of the anatomy of the eye. It discusses various eye diseases and their treatments, including cataract surgery. Avicenna's understanding of anatomy was limited by the proscription against human dissection. Despite this, his anatomical charts were the most accurate available for centuries. He correctly described the 5 lobes of the liver and the function of the heart valves. His theory of vision, however, was incorrect, following the Greek idea that light emanated from the eye. Nevertheless, his emphasis on empirical observation was a crucial step forward. He taught that physicians should trust the evidence of their own senses. The Canon was not without its flaws, as it perpetuated some of the errors of Galenic medicine. The theory of the 4 humors, for example, would eventually be disproven, but its strengths far outweighed its weaknesses. It provided a solid foundation upon which future generations could build. The translation of the Canon into Latin in the 12th century was a pivotal moment. It sparked a revival of medical learning in Europe. For the first time in centuries, European scholars had access to a complete and coherent medical system. The Canon's influence dominated European medical education until the 17th century. It was only with the work of figures like Vesalius and Harvey that its authority began to be challenged. Vesalius, through his direct observation of human dissections, corrected many of Avicenna's anatomical errors. Harvey's discovery of the circulation of blood overturned the Galenic model that Avicenna had adopted. Yet, even as it was superseded, the Canon's legacy endured. It had taught Europe the importance of systematic thought and clinical observation. It had established medicine as a true science, based on rational principles. Avicenna's influence extended beyond medicine to philosophy, where he was known as the Prince of Physicians and Philosophers. His synthesis of Aristotelian philosophy and Islamic theology was profoundly influential. He sought to reconcile faith and reason, a central theme in medieval thought. His philosophical works were also translated into Latin and studied in European universities. He engaged with the most profound questions of existence, metaphysics, and the nature of the soul. His floating man thought experiment is a famous precursor to Descartes' cogito, ergo sum. He imagined a man created in a void, with no sensory input, who would still be aware of his own existence. This demonstrated his belief in the soul as a substance independent of the body. Avicenna's life was a testament to the unity of knowledge. He saw no conflict between science, philosophy, and religion. For him, they were all different paths to understanding the same ultimate reality. His encyclopedic mind encompassed the full spectrum of human learning. He was a true polymath, a Renaissance man centuries before the Renaissance. His legacy is not just in the books he wrote, but in the intellectual spirit he embodied. He represents a golden age of Islamic civilization, a time of great scientific and cultural achievement. The light of his intellect shone brightly across the medieval world. He healed the sick, enlightened the minds of scholars, and left an indelible mark on human history. The Canon of Medicine remains his most enduring gift to humanity. It is a work that not only healed the body but also nourished the mind. Avicenna's journey from a boy genius in Bukhara to a world-renowned sage is an epic of intellectual pursuit. His story continues to inspire physicians and scholars to this day. He proved that one individual's dedication to knowledge can indeed change the world. The physician from Persia had truly healed a world far beyond the borders of the Islamic empires. His wisdom, codified in the Canon, became a universal language of healing. The pages of his great book carried the seeds of a medical renaissance across continents. And so, the name Avicenna remains forever etched in the annals of medicine.